Okay, just as a follow-up to that, reading the interactive whiteboard produce small gains, that's actually just an abstract that you can read. So it's very short, but you can see how they did a study and it increased motivation gains to a small degree anyway when they used an interactive whiteboard. So that's something to be aware of. It's just an experimental study, I believe, that did that. So it's just the abstract to read for that one, but to kind of think about, what type of gains that might be possible with interactive whiteboards. All right, so ClassFlow. Well, ClassFlow is a tool that's actually an online tool, which makes it kind of unique in a lot of ways because you can access it anywhere, you can build lessons anywhere, and you can bring them into this situation. And as you watch the video on ClassFlow, you'll find more information about it. But if we look here, I've created a few lessons, and you can create your own lessons in ClassFlow. There's an easy way to do it. It shows how to do that in the video. I've created different objects and different pictures to go in here. It's kind of like Smart Notebook, kind of not. But I can go ahead now. Let's say I've created, these are the slides on the left-hand side. I create objects in here. I can put a new object in here using the shapes or text or these different tools up here. And let's say I just want to add a new shape into here. There's a new circle that shows up right there. And add those in. And bring in pictures as well. There's this plus button for inserting pictures. And I can choose to upload a new resource or to choose from a list of pictures, or I can even do a search on Bing Images, for instance, of things that are allowed to be used in here. Cake. I guess I must be hungry this morning. So I can choose that picture and choose Insert in New Card, and that makes a new card, and I've got a picture of a cake. So it's kind of easy, it works like a lot of graphic software that you might have used before. But what's unique, I think, about ClassFlow is that it allows more interactivity, especially in a one-to-one classroom where students might have devices. And it's unique in that way. Smart Notebook, for instance, is the software that probably most of you have heard of or used for your interactive whiteboard lessons. But ClassFlow allows a lot more. A Smart Notebook only allows you to go up to the board and interact with the board, but ClassFlow makes those same lessons available on one-to-one devices as you deliver it. So if you noticed, I clicked on Deliver, and now I've got this larger screen, and students can come up to the board maybe and move the circle around or click on things to make them interact in some way that's unique and interesting. However, I've programmed it, and I use these buttons to go to the next or previous cards. Students can use the pen to draw on things if I want them to draw part of a sentence, and so forth. But what's kind of interesting here is that I can go ahead and choose Send Screen to All Students, and I can click on this Open Class item, and students who are in my class can join my session. So if they go to this address on another device, then they will be joined into the session, and you'll be able to see what they do as well, or they'll be able to also see these same activities on their own screen, on their own laptop or on their iPad or whatever the device is, and it will show up down here when they've joined, and they might be ready to connect. And then once they've joined, I can choose Send this to all students, and then that means that every student has this page on their own one-to-one device right now, and they can also do the activity that the student who, maybe you've got a student up at the board is doing the activity as well on the interactive whiteboard. But the rest of the students who have devices can also do that same thing on their device. And so that solves a big problem with interactive whiteboards, which we talk about in my other classes as well, which is what are the rest of the students doing when that one student, or maybe two, are up at the board working with the board. And so this gives you an opportunity to have students to interact with those objects and those same activities that one student can do. Now all students can do that same activity if we just have them connect to our class using this Open Class button, and then allow them to send the screen to all students. And so as I go through these different items, I don't know if these do anything. I can't remember when I created this one. Then students can be sent, you have to send the screen, each screen has to be sent to students, but once they have it, they can do whatever it is that you want students to do at the board. and interact in that way. So now I'm going back to editing my lesson here, and just to show you a few of the different things that you can do. I should go back into my other lessons as well. Save this one, go back, exit Builder. And I've got a list of all the lessons that I have created here, but you can also do different types of activities. If you go to ClassFlow's home, you can notice that you just have this instant whiteboard, and that's just if you need a whiteboard. One of the drawbacks, though, that I think of ClassFlow is that it is within a web browser, so you still have these tabs or whatever other web browser items that you want to have. But that's a drawback, but I think that there are a lot of good things about it that make it better. You could do a quick poll, and you can have students, you can give them some topic to do, let's say, and choose creative, and they can do, it basically goes to whoever's logged into your class again with this open class button, it basically goes to their screen, and they can respond in any way you want them to respond. So you might tell them, well, I want you to write a prepositional phrase, and students will have all these tools down here with the text tool if they want to, and they could write that in, and their responses will pop up here in this page, and then they can respond to you and say, here's my prepositional phrase, and or whatever type of phrase it is, whatever thing you want them to do. It could be a picture that they should draw, or underlining something that they should do. But they can do that through these different polls or the different activities in the class. And this can be a part of or an impromptu part of a lesson, or it can be a part of another, just its own quick poll here. And then there are activities that you can create as well. And so there are different types of activities that are pretty easily created, such as matching, memory games, Venn diagrams, word searches, sequencing. And try to use these in this lesson that you try to create for this week. Try to use these different types of one of these activities where they have to categorize something or they have to do a labeled diagram. And again, because it's interactive and it's online, then you can push it to your whole class. One student might come up to the board and match the items if you're doing a matching activity. But another student, all the other students might do it on their iPad or on their laptop and do the same activity that you had them do up at the board while the student's up at the board. So that's a way to really engage students in a fun way. I'll just make a matching activity just to show you what it'd be like. Maybe we'll do rhyming. So we'll do a couple of rhyming items. You could also put pictures in here just using this picture button, but we don't need to do that for now. And then you can choose a color scheme. Maybe I'll choose orange and go like that. And then I can choose deliver and go ahead and deliver this. This would go up on the board in a browser like it shows right here. So one student could immediately come up right now once I hit let's play anyway. They could immediately come up and basically take these items and put them in the right place. But again, if I want to choose send screen to all students and send it out, any student who's connected here to my open class link will be able to see this on their own screen. And again, you have to have one-to-one devices, but if they do, they can see this on their own screen and do the same activity on their own screen while one student's up at the board. So one student's up at the board doing this one. If they get it wrong, it bounces back. If they get it right, it comes together, and then they're done. And so again, what's wonderful about ClassFlow is that all students who have a device can interact with this device. Now for your lesson plan, for your assignment, you don't necessarily have to use this feature or even ClassFlow. You can still use Smart Notebook software if you'd like to, or even another interactive whiteboard software, but you do need to justify how students are interacting well with your experience. So again, students need to be able to interact in the experience in some way, and high interaction is what you need to support. So certainly this would support that if you want to create something in ClassFlow and use that But you could also do that with Smart Notebook again by getting multiple students maybe to come up during your lesson and do different things, or maybe making sure that the rest of the students who are not up at the board have a specific activity to interact with or to do. But the idea is to support that active student learning, not the passive learning where they're just sitting there not doing much. And that's harder, in different grades. It can be harder. Of course, your younger elementary school students will all want to come up to the board, but high school students may not be so excited about that. Let's take a look at just another feature or two of ClassFlow. Let me exit this one. So let's say I do have you can also create, I didn't mention that, you can create a quiz or assessment. That might be a good way to quiz your class. We're going to get into that a little bit later in the next unit, though, on classroom response systems. But anyway, in a lesson, I actually want to go to a lesson that I've already created. You can do that by going to Resources. And let me find an untitled lesson with some content. So, well, we'll see if this has anything. We can deliver a lesson right from here. And again, there might be some, that one's doesn't have anything in it. But anyway, again, there might be some different activities or different things that students view on here. But then there are all these different quick polls built right into the lesson. So the quick poll option that I showed you earlier is also right here. So anytime, like during a lesson, you'd like to just do a quick poll, and you can say, students, is this an interrogative sentence, true or false? Or true or false, this is an interrogative sentence. Then you'd go ahead and do that quick poll. It will give each student the response an opportunity to respond true or false to that. So again, that's a nice opportunity for students to interact, and it makes it part of the lesson that you're already presenting to students, which is nice. So that's ClassFlow in a nutshell. I might present a little bit more on it too, but this week just to kind of show you the student side of things, but this will do for now.